My name is Whitney Fung and I work for the University of Florida IFAS Extension Service and the Board of County Commissioners Indigent Healthcare Division. We're back on the 10 tips on eating healthy, and today we're on tip number 8, foods to eat less often. Before we start talking about all those things, I do want to talk about MyPlate and remind you all of MyPlate and the dietary guidelines. We've talked a lot about MyPlate, and I'm sure you're familiar with this by now. Even when you're eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you're looking down at your plate and you're really asking yourself, are you eating a MyPlate meal? So don't forget, think of me when we eat that MyPlate meal, those 2 messages of portion controlling and then eating all 5 food groups every single day. So check out choosemyplate.gov if you haven't already. All right, so we're going to start today on foods to eat less often. And so here behind me we have a makeshift pantry, which is kind of fun, but an easy way to kind of go with what foods do we eat more often or what foods do we eat less often is following something called Go, Slow, and Whoa foods. So Go foods, green foods, slow, yellow foods, and then whoa foods, red foods. And so we want to start thinking about what type of food you want to eat more of and then what to just cut back on. And that might be your sugary treats, ice cream, candy, Snicker, my favorite's the Snicker bar, so I love that. I mean, I drink regular soda, but everything in moderation. So maybe saving those things for a special occasion. So start thinking about those. What do you want to cut back on and eat less often? Now, I don't want to make you unhappy. You can still have those foods, but trying to incorporate a little bit more healthy foods in your pantry and in your home as well. So we're going to start first with this Go foods. Go foods, we've talked about foods to eat more often, but take a moment and browse the top shelf of Go foods. So a lot of those wholesome foods, your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, and your low-fat dairy. Fresh, frozen, and canned are all fine, but we want to focus on those wholesome foods. And so those things are all good. And then also thinking about calories, not consuming too many calories as well. So let's go ahead and browse the second shelf, which are your slow foods, so your yellow foods. And you'll see, you might even wonder, why is orange juice on there, or even this baby vegetable medley? So think about it. Why might it be a slow food? Well, one thing is that the baby vegetable medley, it's a frozen food, and so frozen food, we'll talk about sodium for tip number 9, but your frozen foods sometimes have a lot of seasonings that are packed with preservatives. So an easy way to change from a slow food to a Go food is to buy plain frozen vegetables with no sauce. Doesn't mean you can't add a little bit of butter. You can add garlic, you can add lemon juice, or you can add spices. You can season it up, but at least you can control the amount that's in there. So from that baby vegetable medley, you can move it up by choosing a plain frozen vegetable instead. And the orange juice, you want to choose 100% orange juice, but fruits have a lot of sugar as well. So you want to make sure you have that, but then, if you're sitting in front of the TV and you're drinking a whole, cup and then 2 cups in the whole gallon, that might be a little bit too much. So again, think of your calories. So we're going to move on to the third shelf, which are our whoa foods. So that's the idea really, is here, foods to eat less often. And I don't want to take your brownies away. I don't want to take your ice cream away or your Oreos, but look at this one. It's reduced fat Oreos. How can we make those whoa foods into special occasions, but then maybe even make it a little bit healthier? So it could be reduced fat Oreos, or instead of eating 6 cookies, you can eat 3 cookies instead. So Snickers, soda, whatever it is, everything in moderation. And so the tip for the dietary guidelines is foods to eat less often is really looking at things that the American diet consumes too much of. And those are our sugars, our fats, and our salts. So too much sugar can lead to weight gain. So think of the sodas, your sweet tea, how can we mix it, unsweet and sweet tea together? Your fats, high-fat diet will contribute to high cholesterol, leading an increased risk for heart disease. So not too much fat if possible, so reduce fat Oreos if you can. And then the third one is sodium. So making sure you watch how much sodium you eat, and then not even how much you eat, but what's already in the food itself when you go out to the restaurant. So go in your pantry, go in your kitchen, and see what you can do to make over and choose foods to eat less often, and then how do we make it a little bit more healthy. That's all we have for today. Feel free to contact us at the Extension office if you have any questions. Thanks for being with us today.